Yo, what's good? What's good with everyone? Hope everybody's having a blessed, productive day. And with that being said, let's get into some real topics for you. I got quick stories for you guys I'm going to share with you today. One of them is going to be about doing time in Pleasant Valley Level 3 with a bunch of carnales. The other one is what I did for them while I was incarcerated. Now, all this is stories that I'm sharing that I've lived through and that I encountered. And this is things that I've been through myself, and I want you guys to get a peek of what I've been going through. I did a lot of time with 8 to 10 carnales, Nuestra Familia carnales that I encountered. I'm going to start off with the list and let you guys know who I met, what I encountered, and what I did for them. So Nuestra Familia roll call that I know: Mateo Rocha, Gangster, Dux, Chino, Jaime, Capone, Turtle, Beto, Hilo. There was other few of them that just had barely got put on that I don't remember their names at this moment. But down the line, maybe if I refresh my memory, it'll come back to play. These are certain individuals that I did time with, that I encountered, and 4 to 5 of them, I did a lot of things for them. Now, I'm not promoting nor am I praising any of this. This is all stories from my past that I encountered, and so I'm shedding light on it due to the fact that maybe down the line, it opens up people's eyes as to the things that you have to deal with, the things that you have to encounter while you're in a gang. And a lot of these things, when you're a youngster coming up, especially the youth, when you're coming up and you're involved in this lifestyle, nobody tells you exactly what you're signing up for, right? Nobody tells you exactly what you have to do for the gang. Now, a lot of things have changed since back in the days up to the present time as to today. But you still have to involve yourself and you still have to do a lot of things. But nowadays, it's all about making money by any necessary means that you could bring forward some money for these individuals. I was a victim of those tactics. I was a victim of oppression amongst my people. And I was taken advantage a lot by these individuals because of their status. And I just want to put it out there, man. And so some of these individuals that I'm talking about now, they got the same poison that they gave out. So they received it in return, because you reap what you sow. I don't wish no harm upon anybody. I don't wish anything wrong to anybody or anything. Everything that I encountered in life, everything that I've been through in life, I'm not proud of. I'm not glorifying it. But however, I am trying to turn all that negativity into something positive. Being that positive that maybe somebody learns from my mistakes and applies it to their life to not commit the same mistakes that I once did. With that being said, let's get right to it. While I was in Pleasant Valley, there was all these carnales that I mentioned to you guys. There was a really high expectation and a high demand and quota that we had to bring in money. We had to produce revenue for these individuals. Every prison, every establishment, every hood, every gang that is under the umbrella of Nuestra Familia has to produce some certain revenue and have to pay up to the mob, which is the Nuestra Familia. Now, there's a percentage for all illegal activities that transpire. So, for example, if I'm committing a crime and I get $200-300 off that, I have to pay 10% to the reg commanders so they can get a cut out of it and send the rest to prisons and to whoever they're in contact with for that regiment. And it goes down the line. The majority of the time when you pay up to certain individuals, for example, the rich commander Aaron Salinas, when I used to pay them a certain amount of money, they'll keep most of it. They'll probably send up like not even half of it to wherever it needs to go. That person keeps another portion of it. And by the time it lands to the prison system and whoever they're in contact with, they're only probably getting about a few $100s. Now, that doesn't necessarily happen all the time, but however, it does happen a lot. I seen that and I witnessed that myself, whatever the case might be. We used to get filters saying that, at some point in time, we had to produce some type of revenue. They would encourage us to find ways or routes to bring in drugs, smuggling, cell phones, or produce some type of revenue. I took that upon myself and I wanted to produce revenue. Before I get to this topic, I want to kind of give you guys a little breakdown and a little brief of how it was in Pleasant Valley. Usually all the yards are flooded with drugs, and the main drug that sells in the systems is heroin, crystal, and weed. And of course, alcohol, which is homemade Pruno and White Lightning. And white lining, like a little cup, like a shot cup, it goes for like $50 because it's like actual liquor. Those are the 4 things that are in high demand. While I was incarcerated in Pleasant Valley, that yard didn't have that much flow coming in. There wasn't really that much drugs in there. The phones, they were rare. Only a handful had phones. A regular cell phone that you could buy at the store for like $30 to $50 will go for $2,000. And I myself purchased 2 cell phones while I was incarcerated in Pleasant Valley due to the fact that one cell phone, someone let me borrow it, and while I was putting it up in the vending system, somehow it slipped out. And when it slipped out, I pulled up the light, and when the light hit, it cracked the screen. So I had to replace it. And when I replaced it, right, that phone didn't work anymore. So I had to cough up $2,000 to buy that phone. So luckily, my family were able to help me out and facilitate that move, paid those $2,000 for a phone that I broke, which was my fault. And that phone, it wouldn't really work. The whole screen was cracked. Like, the only way that it could work is somebody was calling in and you answer it. Down the line, 2 weeks later, I had to buy my own cell phone because I didn't want to ask anybody else to let me borrow a phone and, you know, risk the chance of breaking it or something happening to it, or they'll give me a messed up phone and I'll have to replace it. So I'm like, you know what? It's better off if I buy my own cell phone and I keep my own cell phone, and, you know, like, I could use it whenever I want. And so I purchased my own cell phone, and that's another $2,000. And so in a matter of, you know, a few weeks, this is how expensive cell phones could be. When there's not that much drugs or that many phones, there's a high demand, and high demand requires prices going up. Homies didn't really have a route to bring in any drugs or to bring in any phones, such things of that nature. And so they would encourage us to, you know, try to find routes, you know, try to establish a way or try to establish a route to bring things in. Down the line, a few months later, I ended up pulling a free staff. She ended up bringing stuff from me. So let's talk about it. Let's get right to it. I was required to do these classes before I was able to parole. There was about 4 to 5 teachers, 2 cops in their own little desk, and we have little classrooms where they'll teach us. And it was like rehabilitation classes that they'll teach about drugs and try to rehabilitate us to go back into society. So those were mandatory for us to do. They were mandated to do in order for us to parole. And while I was doing those classes, you know, I used to hate going there. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I used to dread going there, right? Because they used to P-test us. And when we used to get P-test, it was randomly because it's a drug program. And not only that, it's a rehabilitation program to get you ready to go back into society. And so they want to make sure that you're not doing drugs. And mind you, if you get a dirty P test, that's another 90 days that it gets added on to your time. I wasn't trying to get any more time added to my time that I already had. But mind you, I used to smoke weed because it used to relieve a lot of stress, and, you know, whatever circumstances or whatever I was faced with at the moment, it used to relieve it. And not only that, you know, it's recreational, but I used to like getting high at night. You know, with my Sally, we used to, you know, get high, you know, drink up, get high, you know, be on the phone, listening to music, you know, and it makes you forget that you're even in prison. We used to do this almost every other night, and I'll smoke up and drink up, and I'll be like kind of hungover, right? Like, I'll be so tired. And so when I'll go to the class at 8 in the morning, I'll be really tired because either I was up all night on the phone, or either I was up all night smoking and drinking. And when I wake up, I'll be really tired, and it'll take a toll on the body. So when I used to go to class, you know, I used to like, there wasn't really that many homies, so I could, you know, try to nap. So I'll go in there in the class, and then I act like I'm listening, right? And I'm over here nodding off and falling asleep. In particular, this teacher, everybody was on her, right? Every prisoner would try to get some type of compliment from this person, or every prisoner would try to communicate with her and be like, oh, you know, Miss so-and-so, how are you doing? Miss so-and-so, you know, like, I'm not gonna say names because, you know, like, I don't want to just put that person out there like that. This person, she had a nice body, right? But she had an ugly face, like a horrible face, right? But she, like, you know, to each his own. She really had a nice body, so everybody will be up on her like, oh, you know, how you doing? How's your day going? Good morning. Or they'll bring her some drawings and so on and so forth, right? And I was the only one that would stand out to her because I was different. I wouldn't say nothing to her. Like, I'll pass by her, you know, and I'd be like, you know, she's just a normal ass person to me. Like, I don't care about her, right? And that's just the mentality that I had. I really didn't care. I wasn't gonna get anything out of it from her, right? Like that's the way I was thinking. So I was just like, whatever, you know. I was too focused on what I had going on back at home and being in the prison, right? So I wasn't really focused about her. So everybody, you know, like, oh, what's up, this and that, like bringing up drawings, like I mentioned, you know, making her, you know, craft, you know, like crafting, like whatever things, you know, because prisoners, they get crafty and they make a lot of things like roses or whatever it might be. I remember this one time, this is how we got to talking. And I was falling asleep, right? And then she said my name, like, hey, you know, like, you need to pay attention while I was sleeping. And I just looked at it and I'm like, man, mind your own fucking business. Like, this is nothing but bullshit anyways, right? Like, you're not even teaching right. And I'm like, just leave me alone. I'm tired. What do you want me to do? I'm tired. And then I told her, leave me alone. And then she's like, you need to stop that. I could kick you out. You know that I could kick you out. I could tell the officer down the hall to come grab you and take you back, right? And I'm like, man, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. You know, like, all they're gonna do is send me back to my room, you know. And I'm like, go ahead. And like, that's on you, man. You know, you're here to help us, but yeah, you want to sit there and kick me out. Like, I'm going through some things, right? So I start telling her I'm going through some things, you know, like, just mind your own business. Like, I'm not even bothering you. Like, I'm just here, you know, trying to pay attention. I'm resting my eyes. What else do you want me to do? And she's like, all right, well, just stay awake. And I'm just nodding off, right? On and off, on and on. The day finishes up. We got to go back to our cells for lunch. And so we go back, whatever, we come back. And now when I come back, you know, I get to drinking the coffee and everything. I come back a little more energetic. And when we're doing our class, you know, I'm just chilling, just minding my own. And everybody wants to talk to her. Like, every single individual wants to talk to this woman, right? And I'm just like, you know, like, in my eyes, she's like, she was like, you know, no disrespect to the woman or anything, you know, like, but in my eyes, I was just like, whatever, like, she's just a random ass B, right? In other words. And so I'm just like, whatever. And it's getting close to the school day ending. And she comes up to me, sits right next to me, right? And she's like, why are you so rude to me? And I'm like, what do you mean? And then she's like, yeah, like, you're really rude to me. Like, everybody comes and tells me good morning. Everybody wants to talk to me. This is her words. It's like, everybody wants to talk to me. And then here you come, all rude. Don't even say good morning or nothing. Like you don't even pay attention in class. Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? Like, mind your own business. You know, like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not bothering you. Like, and then I didn't even get to tell her, like, what do you want, bro? Like, what's up? Like, and then she's all like, I know you have a phone in your cell. Instantly, right? I'm like, oh, hell no, right? I'm like, oh, this beast about to tell a cop that I have a phone in my cell. They're gonna go raid it. They're probably gonna go find it. Who knows? My cell is in there. He's probably over there jacking off and watching porn or whatever. I'm like, oh, hell no. So instantly it switches up the whole thing, right? And I'm like, man, if you don't stop talking like that, like, why are you even saying that? Like, you know that if a cop hears you saying that, they're gonna cuff me up and take me to my cell and go search it. Like, why do you even think like that? She's like, because I'm not dumb. Like, I can tell every single day you come in here and you fall asleep. It's either because you're up all night doing something, and when you come here, you try to sleep it off. And I tell her, like, nah, man, I'm just stressed out. I just can't sleep at night sometimes. And I just, you know, and it's like, I'm not dumb. I know you have one. And I'm just like, oh, this be right. I'm like, no, I don't, man. I don't. And then she's like, add me on Facebook. Now, mind you, she came up to me and she's telling me these things, right? And I'm just like, I'm over here thinking, like, this is a setup. Like, she's trying to set me up. And I'm just like, are you trying to set me up? Or like, what's up? Like, what's your motive here? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's up? You know, like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And she's like, yeah, like, add me on Facebook. Like, I could talk to you through Facebook. And then I'm like, but I don't have a phone. You know, I'm still in the mentality that she's trying to set me up. And it's just like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Why would I ask you to add me? You know, I could get in trouble for that already. And I'm like, all right, if you're really serious, I'm like, go to your desk and write your name on that paper and give it to me. She's like, no, I'm for real. Like, add me. I'm like, nah, man. If you're really serious, go to your desk and write your name down. And then she's like, all right, come here. So she gets up, right? And mind you, this is a big class. And there's a lot of people. And before we end class, we get into a big group. We get to talk and say, oh, my name is so-and-so. It's like a 12-step program, kind of, right? We go up to her desk, right? And then she writes down her name and rips it off. He's like, but you better not get caught with this because, like, I could get in trouble and lose my job for this. And I'm like, man, like, don't worry about that. You know, they're not going to find it. Like, trust me, they will not find it. So I wrap it up, right? And we get searched when we get out of that class. So I wrap it up, and luckily I get to find a little piece of paper, wrap it up, put it into a wheeler status, and I put it in my mouth. And so when we walk out, we get searched everything, right? I'm just like, all in my head, I'm like, yes, I got her, right? I'm like, ooh, I'm about to bring in so much dope. I'm about to bring in so much phones. Like, I'm over here making all these plans already, right? Because I already know she went for it. And so I'm like, ooh, I got her, right? So I go back in the cell and I tell my cellie, like, hey, cellie, I just pulled the free staff, bro. Like, I'm gonna burn it up. It's like, no, you didn't. You didn't pull it. I'm like, bro, I swear to God, this is what I'm saying. Nothing. Like, watch, I'm gonna flood it, bro. I'm gonna flood the whole yard. And so I already have this narrative and this perspective, like, ooh, the homies are gonna like me. The big homies are carnales. I'm gonna bring in a lot of things for them. And, I'm going to get a lot of juice and a lot of power. That's my mentality, my thinking. So I add her, I hit her up, like, we go to dinner, put everything away. We come back, I pull it out. When I pull it out, sure enough, she messaged me a few times. I'm like, we in there like Squidward. We in there, fam. We in there, right? So I start hitting her up like, hey, what's popping? That was good, man. So I start spitting my game, right? I'm like, man, what's good? So, I start spitting the verbals. I give her the tongue lash. And so we're going back and forth. And while we conversating, she tells me, and just to let you know, like, I'm not gonna bring you anything, so don't ask me. Like, first of all, I never even asked you that, so why are you even talking about that? That's how I knew you ready to bring some stuff in, man. You ready? You been waiting, right? So we start talking for a few days, right? See her at class, but I still act like I don't know her, like I don't communicate because I don't wanna raise red flags, right? And then like she comes up to me like, hi, good morning, like trying to talk to me, like, hey, like, you're making it suspicious, like, don't come and talk to me, like, just do your normal thing, like, I'll talk to you when we get on the phone. And so there'll be a few nights where I start talking to her, right? And I hit her with the story, right? This is what all prisoners do. They make the next person feel bad for them. And a lot of females and a lot of family members have fallen victim to this due to the fact that these individuals have a tendency to make them feel bad for them. And so they get them to do whatever they want. And they feed them all these lies and all these perfect lives. And like, for example, being like, oh, when I get out, don't even worry. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be there for you. Like, I'm going to change. I'm not going to be the same person. I'm going to get a job and I'm going to work and I'm going to be faithful and feeding all these lies and poison, right? And when they get out, they forget about all that and they start dogging the girl or the relative or whatever the case might be, right? And so men in jail, or even in women in prison, like, they're really good manipulators. You gotta watch out for that, especially if you have a boyfriend or you have a girlfriend in the system or a relative that, likes to do drugs or tells you all these lies that he's gonna change and he's gonna do this and he's gonna do that. Like, don't believe it, because he's not. He really not. He's not. Like, just come on, man. Like, especially if you're a female and there's a man out there feeding you all these lies, trust me. Like, I've been there. I done that to a lot of females. I told them all these lies and I sold them these false narratives and dreams that I was going to do for them when I got out. And I never did. I probably never even hit them up, So it's like, just be real careful, man. All they want is the money that they're going to get out of you and try to use you as a means to have any revenue coming in, right? Or to have you bring in drugs for him. So just be real careful out there, women and ladies. Be careful. And so back to the story. I'm feeding her all these lies and I'm telling her, yeah, when I get out, I want to get to know you, like, I'll move in with you or this and that and that. Like, I'll take care of you, don't worry. And so I tell her, hey, send me a picture of your driving license, right? And so she sends me a picture of her driving license. And what I do, I sent $1,000, right? I have one of my family members. They sent $1,000 Walmart to her nearest Walmart. I give out her full name. And then I call her up and I'll be like, hey, look, check this out, girl. Like, I want you to do your nails. I want you to do your hair and, and go buy yourself something. I sent you some money. He's like, oh, my God, really? Nobody ever done that for me? I'm like, nah, don't even worry, right? But that money has strings attached to it. And so I give her the code for the Walmart to Walmart. She goes, she picks it up. She's like, oh, my God, you sent me all this? Like, I don't even get paid that. And I'm like, look, all you have to do is buy me 2 cell phones that cost $50. You're only going to spend about $100. The rest is yours. You keep it. I'm like, but all you got to do is bring me those phones. And he's like, really? And I'm like, and once I get those phones, I could sell them for $1,500 each, and I'll send you another $1,000. But what I did when I got those two phones, I sold them for 2 G's each. I didn't even tell a casa at this point, right? So I just wanted to make sure that I had all this established. So I bring in these two phones in, and instantly I sell them. They're going like pancakes, bro. Like they sell like nothing. 2 G's, boom, boom. I made 4 racks. I send her one. I keep 3. And now I tell her, with that rack, you're going to buy me 4 more phones. And we're going to continue doing it like that. So she liked the money. She wanted the money. So now she's bringing me all these phones. I let the homies know. I let the NF know. I let Matt Rocha know. Like, hey, look, check this out, G. I have a free staff. I pulled her. What's up? Like, what do you want me to bring for you? He said, like, oh, bring me this dope. Bring me this. Bring me these phones. Bring me this. Bring me that. I start bringing this individual so much things. Like, every day I'm bringing in ounces of weed, ounces of dope. I'm bringing in everything, yo. I'm bringing in phones. Everything that you could think of, I'm bringing in, right? I'm bringing in whatever I want. And, you know, I have the whole prison flooded at this time now, right? I'm selling the phones for $1,500 now. If you're my close homie, I'm giving them to you for $1,000. And, you know, I'm making all this money, right? I'm making money, bro. Like, I'm making all this money. She's over here, you know, I'm looking out for her. I'm blessing her, but she's not even seeing as much money that I'm seeing. You know, she's only seeing a few thousand, but I'm making way more than that, you know. And I have all these big carnales, you know, all happy. I'm blessing them with cell phones, you know. I'm giving them to them for like $500, $1,000, you know, and like majority of them, I had to give them a phone for free because how the house will do it. After I started telling the casa that I had this route, if I bring 2 phones, I have to give them one and I'll keep one. You know, like, what the hell? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is just things that transpire while you're in prison, bro. Like, you have to pay a percentage to the mob. And if I bring 2 ounces of dope, like, I have to turn them in. They have to look at them. They have to cut it up, and then they'll give me one back. And majority of the time, it wouldn't even be one. So what I used to do, I used to lie about what I used to bring in. I used to be like, oh, I only brought in 2 ounces of dope. But in reality, I brought in 5. And so they're keeping one. They give me one back. And I'm flooding it, right? I'm smoking. I'm having the best time of my life in that prison, bro. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you guys, right? And I'm bringing all this. I'm making all this revenue. And now all these carnales, they're like, oh, you know, that's the little homie. So all these carnales, they want to talk to me now. They want to interact with me now. They're like, hey, what's up, homie? Like, you know, like, you know, I just want to introduce myself. And, you know, like, because the carnales in Pleasant Valley, they don't just talk to anybody. Like, it's just the elite group. They're amongst one another. You know, they're just with each other. It was about 10 of them, and they would only talk to one another. And, of course, they have their SBs, right? Like 3 to 4 SBs, the security. They're like, they protect them. They're their security, right? And so wherever they go, the security go with them. They can't go anywhere without them. Those are like the only people that they get to talk to. You know, of course, you can walk by and be like, hey, you know, what's going on, OG? You know, but never to where, like, you sit there and have a full conversation and eat with them and stuff like that. No, it will never be like that. Now, I'm in the same table with them. Now I feel like I'm the shit. You know, like, I'm in the same table with them. I'm playing cards with them. I'm interacting with them, you know, and like to a certain extent, because, you know, they have their household business. You know, they, every time we will come out, they'll talk about their little politics, their business. And then after 30 minutes, you know, like, everybody goes, you know, like, some of them go back to their dorms, or, you know, some of them, you know, go do whatever they want to do. And some of them will stick at the table, you know, we'll play cards, we'll play poker or whatnot, you know, we'll gamble. And, you know, it was like that for a while. You know, I was bringing in all this stuff. I was looking out for all these carnales. I was pretty much a celebrity for that time, that I was bringing in all this stuff because I was looking out for them. You know, I was bringing in all this money. They were making a lot of revenue. I was bringing in all these phones. So I was a hot commodity at the time. A lot of things like that transpired, and a lot of things happened. Of course, there was other individuals that were bringing in things, but through the visitation process. And they couldn't bring in as much as I could, and they weren't able to bring in phones, you know. So I was on top, right? So I was bringing in all these things. I remember this homie Booms, right? He got done dirty by the NF because they said that he was freelancing, because this individual was bringing in dope. You know, just a little recap, he was bringing in dope, and when he'll turn it in, they will give him less than what he will bring in. They will keep majority of it. And he got tired of that. He was like, man, fuck that. So he stopped reporting it, and they caught wind of it, and they told him, hey, you can't be bringing in no more dope. Your restrictions are pulled. You can't bring anything in. If you're not bringing it in for the mob, you're not bringing it in at all. And so they told him he can't bring anything in. And well, whatever it was, he still needed money. He needed to look out for his family. He kept bringing it in, and he didn't break them off for like 2-3 times. They caught wind of it. They whacked him, did him dirty. Like they he got pulled out the yard in a stretch. He didn't die, but the individual, he got hit bad. They hit him bad. And that was just one of the little stories that I had in mind for you guys, man. And as far as like how and as to how far, and as to how much influence this establishment has amongst its people. I don't have any negative agenda or narrative, or I'm not trying to put this establishment down. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. I'm just simply stating my point of view and my perspective as to what I encountered, what I've been through. And these are the things that it's my story. So I'm saying it as to how I view things and what I encounter. Now, not everybody has the same narrative, and not everybody has the same opinion, nor did encounter the same things that I encounter, because a lot of individuals go through different things. And this is just my point of view. And with that being said, man, I'm going to cut it short. I hope you guys enjoy this content. Stay tuned. I really appreciate you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please feel free to do so. I really appreciate every single one of you guys for streaming all this content. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to continue working on these projects with you guys, and hopefully down the line I could have more collaborations with other individuals and other YouTubers that are pushing the same narrative and the same positive message out there for the youth. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys later on, man.